So when we determine the exact value of a trig function, meaning we need to find the value of it using whole numbers, fractions, roots, but no decimals. So calculator is off the table for these kinds of questions. The easiest way to deal with these questions is dealing with the angle in degrees. So with question A, we'll need to convert those radians into degrees. So we'll take 5 pi by 6, multiply it by 180 over pi. Cancel the pi's, do the calculation, and we get 150 degrees. So we're actually dealing with cosine of 150 here. Now what we can do is we can go over to the table of trig values. We can look up cosine and 150 and see that the answer is negative root 3 over 2. Similar thing on question B. We've got negative 4 pi over 3 as our radian measure. Multiply that by 180 over pi. Cancel pi. Do the math. And we have negative 240 degrees. So we're dealing with sine of negative 240 degrees. But that presents us a bit of a unique problem, since when we look on the table of trig values, we have positive 240 degrees, but not negative. And the downside is we can't just switch the sign, so we actually have to go in and deal with this on an xy axis. So negative 240 degrees drawn in standard position, as everything should be, would rotate down, rotate clockwise, would be about here. We always need to deal with a positive angle in these kind of questions. So we actually need to know what this angle here is, rotated counterclockwise. Full circle is 360. We've used up 240. So we're actually dealing with 120 degrees. So sine of negative 240 would be the same as sine of 120. Now this we can go and look up. Sine of 120 is just root 3 over 2. Flip over, have some space for C and D. C and D, we've already got degree measures, but we have secant and cotangent, which, looking back at the table, we don't have secant or cotangent in there. But we do know the relationship between secant, cosecant, and cotangent, and sine, cosine, tangent. So secant is actually 1 over cosine. So now we know we're dealing with 1 over cosine 315. Go back and look, line up cosine with 315, and we get root 2 over 2. So this would actually be 1 over root 2 over 2. Can't leave a fraction within a fraction, so we'll flip the bottom and multiply, so it becomes 1 times 2 over root 2. Which would be 2 over root 2. However, we also can't leave a root in the bottom, so we'll need to get rid of that. Multiply by root 2, top and bottom. Get 2 root 2 on the top. Get 2 on the bottom. We can cancel those 2's, and our final answer would be just root 2. D, cotangent of 270. Well, cotangent isn't in the table, but cotangent is the same as 1 over tangent. Go back and look at the table. The issue with this one is that 270 does not actually show up in the table. This is because 270 is called a quadrantal angle, which if we actually draw it out on the xy axis, initial side, terminal side, quadrantal angles actually lie on either the x or y axis, so they would be 90, 180, 270, and so on. So for these kind of questions, we actually can turn to the calculator. We'll need to make sure that it's in degree mode. So we'll change that. And then we can just type it in. 1 over, we'll need brackets just to make sure, tangent of 270. We'll close both sets. And there's an error. If we go to the error, there's actually not an error in this because tangent of 270 is undefined. So we actually have 1 over something that is undefined. Which in itself is undefined.